Hello, this is the WeCreateOnlineCourses.com podcast with Tom Liebelt and me, Till Carlos. Today we talk about the main reason your course is not selling. And the way we do this is we are talking first about some common reasons why it doesn't work, and then we come to the main reason. So we have 5 points here. I start with the first one. You haven't validated it enough. And that could be either you're selling the right product to the wrong people or you're selling the wrong product to the right people, and you haven't tested if that's actually a match here. So for example, the right product to the wrong people, let's say you make the perfect copywriting course, but you're sending it out to only your friends who maybe they're not internet marketers, they don't need a course like that. And you never know if that's actually maybe the right course, but people just don't buy it because they don't need it. That's the one example here. The second example, wrong product to the right people. Tom, can you come up with something here?
Well, what I usually think about this, when people start out with courses, the first thing they want to do is start running Facebook ads to it. And that's mostly the marketer's fault. That's the first thing, like run Facebook ads. So the easiest way to do that is to remarket people that come to your website, right? So for example, they'll pick the 30 or 60 previous days, and they will take all the people that's seen your website and retarget the course to them or to an audience that's a lookalike, right? So now let's say you're a speaker, right? And you write blog posts every single day. You have quite a bit of traffic, and you create a course on networking, right? But the people going to your website might be other speakers, right? So they are not the right clients for the networking. I mean, they follow you, but they actually don't care about the networking itself, right? So it's a mismatch, right? It hits both of those. It's the right product, maybe, for the right audience, but now you're selling it to the wrong people. And then it's the wrong product on that website to the people that could buy something else from your website just because it's a different audience, right? So you have to be really careful with matching up the audience that you have with the product that you want to sell to them. And I see this being mismatched a lot of the time. Someone will do workshops and they want to teach people about social media, right? And it's a whole different thing. Like these people that come to your workshops just don't care. I mean, maybe social media is something that they get excited about during these workshops, but they actually don't care about that as a selling point. Like, that's not the conversation that they want to enter.
Yeah, that could be the case. This is why pre-selling is so important, because with the pre-selling, you can actually validate. If you don't pre-sell, at least talk to people, have a lot of conversations, and that should also help validating it.
I actually disagree with you on that one. Surveys, I think, don't work, and talking to people. Yeah, most people will say whatever they think you expect them to say, right? So your friends or other people like, yeah, that's a good idea. But if you tell them, okay, buy it then, they're like, well, no, So yeah, talking, I don't think is the right way. The best way to do it is like you put the offer out, and the people that open up their wallets, that's the talking. That's the only talking you should be listening to.
Yeah, that's to validate by having people vote with their dollars. That's what they say. All right. Point number 2 is you compete against not doing anything at all. So you can have the right product for the right people, but there's no urgency. They might think, okay, let's say a fitness guide, and people say, okay, I'm going to do it next year. So basically what you're competing with is laziness, and that often wins. So if there's no urgency to buy your product, it might just be the case that this is the reason people don't buy. Good. Any comment, or shall we go to point number 3?
Well, I think the only thing I can add is that people like quick wins. And a lot of the courses that I see selling are these big goals that might or might not happen at the end. Right, and then the person's like, well, that sounds great, but I don't have time for that, or it's just not important right now. It's one of these things where, the urgency part, it's right, but it's something that people will not buy impulsively, and they don't really want to do at the moment, and you haven't told them why it's so important, why they should do it. Like, what will happen if they don't do it? Right? There's no fear. Fear there that if they miss out, something will happen or something great will just pass them by.
Yeah, so this is just technique. This is copywriting here. Number 3 is also about technique. People don't understand your message. What could we have here, Tom?
Well, the main thing is the wrong angle, and it's usually the headline. You can rephrase things in 10 different ways, and one of them hits. And this is really where copywriting comes in. Selling a course and having a landing page is really selling. So that landing page or the video, whatever you have, the headline, that's a salesperson of its own, which is actually a little tougher than selling in person since you can't see how this person is reacting. But yeah, sometimes even when you're selling in person and you just keep saying the wrong things, people will not be interested. It's the way you phrase it to get their interest. And the second thing is the no clear outcome. You're not showing this A to Z. So, a good example of this, and it's actually illegal in the most parts, is like the diet, right? You show the fat person on the left and the fit person on the right, and this is a clear before and after. But you have to do it in your own way for your product. There's got to be a clear, this is what you will get or become or achieve after my course. Like there's a clear end goal and a skill set or something that you're selling that the person will get.
Yeah, and the best way to have a person understand the message is if you use their own words. So let's say if they say, maybe they don't want to have a six-pack, they just want to be comfortable walking on the beach, then this would be the headline that you could use. Also with the outcome, they want to have a certain feeling that they describe to you, and you just repeat that feeling in the copy. I think this is one of the quick wins, and this requires to talk to people before and know how they talk. All right. Point number 4 is no trust. So we have a lot of things like testimonials and so on. How is that a big reason so that it doesn't sell, Tom?
Well, if you think about these platforms like Udemy, and there's a couple more, most of those courses just don't sell. And the reason is, you can kind of feel when there's a person creating 10 courses on 10 different topics, hoping they're going to sell. Like these people have no track records that they can show to you. The testimonials and the proof just seem sketchy. You've never heard of them before. I mean, you can position yourself like that without even wanting to. Like you might have all this stuff, but you just don't show it, and the people, if they don't see it, they don't know it. So obviously, if I want to learn something, I want to learn from an expert, not a wannabe expert or fake it till you make it. I want to learn from someone that's done it before, that can show the proof, and hopefully was able to move some other people from the A to Z too, right? So maybe I can be another one. I don't like these ones where someone says like, okay, this is just how I did it, because 99% of the time you can do the same thing someone else is doing and you'll never achieve it, right? And that's what, if you read any biography about any business person, you're like, oh, wow, that was great, but it's not going to happen for you, and not in that way. So yeah, it's a little tricky, but being able to show people that you can coach someone along and that this course will take them from A to Z. I mean, simple ones are like teaching someone how to play guitar, right? That's really easy to prove, right? You had these guys, they're strumming the guitar, sounding like crap, and then at the end they're playing something, and they can say, wow, well, I mean, I figured it out thanks to this course. So that's a great proof right there.
Yeah, and I think it also has a lot to do with how many touch points you have with a buyer. So if you go, let's say someone searches on Udemy how to play guitar, they are seeing 20, 50, 100 other people teaching guitar, and they only see you for a certain small time slice. But let's say if they're following you on Facebook, you can hit them with ads, you can post status updates, you can send them videos, and they'll just see that you are there for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years. And this also builds trust. So just having a long track record, I think this is very important here. Even if the messages are not super important, not super on point, just being there in the long run, this builds trust. Good. Then we have a point number 5. Tom brought this up. This is very interesting. Not understanding the launch process or not treating the course as a business of its own. And I think a lot of most course owners, they don't actually treat the course as a business. They see it as like an extension or something, like a product extension or something that they're trying out. But Tom, can you clarify this a bit? Why could this be a reason a course isn't selling?
Well, when I think of a common author or a public speaker, and they create a course. They think this course will just wake up and sell itself, right? Like it's just up there, and for some reason everyone's going to just run around and then buy it. But that's really not the case. It's, you know, we have so much stuff coming at us at all times, so many distractions. No one is out there looking for your course, right? It's got to be a separate part of your business. You know, just like you're trying to get your book published or get speaking gigs, you know, now you're trying to get clients to buy your course. And the great thing about a course is that it's something that has very low overhead and there's no stock. So it's one of the highest margin things you can do. It doesn't take any time from you. You know, the 8 hours someone spends learning your course, you're not the one teaching it in person. You don't have to fly anywhere. So this is why it's such a great thing, right? You know, if you can match your audience with your course, you can make a lot of money pretty much while you sleep if you have the marketing and stuff right. But it is a business of its own. The marketing of it is a business, right? So you have to figure out now how to market this course, you know, and the launch process to it. You know, a launch process is not going on Facebook and saying, hey, but guys, I created a course. You know, that's, you know, it's just, it's you know, it's a part of it. It's a hustle, but that's not the end of it, right? That's not a launch. That's just saying, like, you know, imagine yourself screaming in the middle of Times Square, like, hey, anything. People will just walk right by you and not even pay attention.
Yeah, that's a good analogy for the internet.
So I think we should get to the main reason now. The main reason.
The main reason. We had 5 smaller ones, but there's one thing that goes over everything. What is it, Tom?
And that's you are not joining the conversation going on in that person's head.
So what do you mean by that?
So every one of us has things running through our heads, right, at any point. And right before we recorded this, we talked about crypto traders, just, you know, a topic we're lately interested in. And so, for example, if you imagine a trader, right, stockbroker, right, he's sitting at a desk, you know, he's looking at the stocks and he's thinking, well, you know, I just want to make more money. He's thinking about vacations, his family, a new car. You know, a couple things going on through that head. You know, obviously he wants it to be easy. He wants it to be pretty sure. He heard about crypto. He heard about maybe arbitrage or something. And, you know, and if you come in and be like, look, man, I know you're sitting around now. You're a trader. You want all these things. You want to be pretty sure that you get in on this new crypto thing, you know, and we do know arbitrage. We can, you know, I know you heard of it. We can show you how it works. And, you know, and the person's like, okay, well, you know, as long as you keep bringing them in, it's the same conversation. You're just continuing it, right? And at some point you can be like, well, you know, this is what we have, but you've brought them in. But if you imagine that same person looking at the computer and you just say like, hey, I have a crypto academy, join now, they will be like, well, like, it's not a part of the conversation, right? Like, what about my family, about the money, like about the ease, about the arbitrage? Like, you're completely missing what I'm thinking. You know, you just came in now. It's like I always imagine an ad or anything as like a guy that just pops up from under the table saying like, hey, I got this, right? Because it's this person that just jumps out and you don't know them. And if they don't join your conversation, you know, if someone just comes up to the table, be like, hey, you know, and kind of gets in like on what you're thinking, then you'll talk to him. But if someone just jumps up, it's like in Thailand especially, you have these people come up to you all the time when you're eating and just dangle things in front of you, in front of your face, and be like, I'm selling. And it's like, yeah, I know, go away, right? But it's different. It's much different than if someone comes up and be like, hey, you know.
Hey, I mean, nobody ever offered me dessert when I sit there and eat. I mean, this would sell. Like, they would just right away make a sell, because normally you don't get a dessert. Of course, it would probably be against the rules of the restaurant, but they're entering anyway unallowed. So, but no one really tries to do this. So here in Vietnam, it works a bit differently. People come with lottery tickets, and this is what people are concerned about. Like, yeah, I need to be lucky today. So that works. They're joining the conversation. But in your case, yeah, there is a disconnect. And I think this is super important with big copywriters. What I heard is like, you'll be a big copywriter when you can write 3 pages of a diary of your prospect buyer, and they read this and they think, oh, damn it, he totally nailed it. This is exactly what I think. right? And this is, I think, what you as a future or already course seller needs to do is join the conversation and really bring the people into what you want to buy. That need to connect them to what you're offering. Right? And this is the only way you can really do this is join their conversation and not like try to rip them out of their day and throw them on your landing page or something like that.
Yeah. So it's pretty much don't introduce them to your ideas or sell them on your ideas. You need to join a conversation. But I like the dessert thing you said before. So what happened the other day, and this is very much like joining the conversation. I was out. It wasn't really street food because we just drove out way outside of the city, and someone was just selling chicken and stuff on the side in like a little building. But the dessert guy drove up on his scooter and just sat there right in front of the restaurant that had no desserts. So in the middle of me ordering the food, I was like, hold on. I went to the guy, grabbed a couple desserts and came back to finish my order. I mean, that just made so much sense at that moment, right? But not dangling like flowers or something in front of my face. That doesn't work. You know, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, just think about this with your online course. Are you selling a dessert or are you interrupting with begging for money or something, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Perfect. I like this main point. I think this is really what everyone needs to focus on when they're selling anything online here. Great. That's about it. If you have questions, especially to this episode or to what we're offering or to any general question about your online course, hit us up on wecreateonlinecourse.com in the contact form, and we're happy to answer your questions. Thank you.